Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, arachnophobes, run away quickly, lock your doors, bolt your windows, hide in a bunker, because we're talking about a great big giant spider from the 1950s classic creature feature, Tarantula, directed by Jack Arnold. Jack Arnold, the king of these movies from the 50s. He was always the go-to guy. Once he'd done things like Creature in the Black Lagoon and Revenge of the Creature, and then of course he'd do The Incredible Shrinking Man, which itself has not a giant spider, a normal house spider-sized spider, but a little man, little hero, shrunk down, has to fight it. The pioneering effects work in this movie, Tarantula from 1955, will go a long way to making the effects in The Shrinking Man even more superior. But anyway, Jack Arnold was a great director of these movies. He's a strange character as well. I'll talk more about him later on. But in the meantime, let's just indulge in the creature feature, skin-crawling, ooky, creepy crawliness of Tarantula. So what's it about then, Kilt-Man? Well, you've got pesky scientists again, haven't you? Oh, God. They just won't leave alone, will they? They've got to try and create something new. Back in the 50s, there was a bit of an issue about the expanding population of the planet and dwindling food sources. So what can we do? Well, we've got this experimental nutritional serum which makes bunny rabbits and guinea pigs and rats bigger. And if we can do it with those, we can grow our meat animal, our meat substances, grow them exponentially, so we'll feed the world. So why have you got in your lab in the middle of the Arizona desert? I'm looking at you, Professor Deemer, played by the great Leo G. Carroll. Why have you got a great big tarantula there as well? Why would you experiment upon that and make it that bigger? Seems wrong. Anyway, it all works. This is great. All the animals that they experiment on, the rats, the rabbits, the guinea pigs, everything, they're all bigger, 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 bigger. They grow really huge within a matter of days. But they do test it on a tarantula as well. And in one of the early scenes, we will see in this desert mansion has a laboratory in there. And in a great, the effects for the time are really good. You'll see him with his flip chart, serum X, Y, whatever. Day 3 on the bunny rabbit. Day 6 on the rat, whatever. And then as he goes past all these, what they are, you've got this elaborate laboratory set, but you've got what amounts to TV screens of composite shots of real creatures. These animals are all real, but they're processed into the shot, and they're huge, super big, and you see him, Leo G. Carroll, looking at these things. It's great. And then as he goes around the lab, without any warning, you just kind of hear this sort of scratchy, and the camera pans, and we get another one of these screens. It's a bloody big tarantula. It's going up the screen like that. And like, he just goes, and just marks it off on the chart. You'd be like, what? I don't mind a big bunny rabbit. Yes, big bunnies were the monsters in the film Night of the Lepus from the mid-70s, which is actually not as bad as the title suggests. A horde of killer rabbits on the rampage across the deserts. Similar sort of story to this, but you know, it is goofy as all hell. Big rats, big guinea pigs, big rabbits. Yay, great. Carve them up, roast them, lovely. Great big spider. Alarm bells should be ringing. Why would you inject a spider with this and see that? We don't intend to eat spiders, do we? And we have this sort of thing where Leo G. Carroll's Professor Deemer does this thing of like, well, in the year 1945, we had 2 billion people on the planet. In the year 1975, they're thinking ahead now, there's going to be 8,325,000,000. I think they're way out, actually. I think there's way more people on the planet now than what they prophesized to be on the planet. But the theme is still quite a redolent theme, obviously. Rapidly expanding population, and these days hugely dwindling food supplies and prices going through the roof. okay, there's wars and stuff. There's all sorts of things going on. And, cost of living crisis and fuel and energy bills going through the roof, and war as well. War and famine seem to go hand in hand, don't they? Anyway, so they're trying to sort this out. So all, good intentions, but the best laid plans of mice and men, even if they're big mice, tend to go awry. And what they've done in their inadvertent sort of desire to right the wrongs of the world and save the planet are scientists, because there isn't just Professor Deemer. There's actually another couple of guys there too. And against Professor Deemer's instructions, these other two guys have injected this super serum nutrient into themselves. But what's it gone and done? Oh, no. Why would you do it? Why would you do this? You see what it does to animals? It makes them bigger. So they want to become the Incredible Hulk. Is that what they're after? Big, big, big. Well, they do get bigger, misshapen, and they get the affliction and the symptoms of acromegaly. That's it, where your bones and your muscles distort and grow, and but it takes years for that to happen. But with this nutrients in them, they're just. And the film opens with a guy going across the Arizona desert, and he's clearly misshapen, and his hair, his eyebrows have gone super bushy, and he collapses in the sun, and dies. He's like a monster, and you see this big misshapen hand begin to claw into the sand. He dies. And this is how the film starts, and it's a really horrific opening as well. And then his body will be found and be brought back to the town, the town is called Desert Bloom, Desert Rock, Arizona. It's all filmed in California, by the way. But anyway, but Desert Rock, his body will be brought back, and they'll examine that. It's that deforming disease. But that's what this serum does to human beings. And in a later sequence, still early on in the movie, Leo G. Carroll's Professor Deemer will be attacked by his other assistants, Paul Lund, I think his name is, who just arrives, misshapen again. But in his acromegaly sort of madness, he's gone violent, and he sets fire to the laboratory, and he knocks out the professor, the good professor, and injects him with it. Why would you do that? And then he goes out and he dies. Whoa! But he set fire to the laboratory, and in that fire, that raging inferno, all the animals are killed. All those experimental animals are killed, except for one. You guessed it. Big Mr. T, Mr. Eight-Legged T, manages to escape out of his fractured cage, glass vivarium, and super big as he is now, kind of like the size of a big German Shepherd, or maybe two German Shepherds bolted together, struts out the back door into the desert. But he's going to get bigger, and he's going to get hungrier. And those desert nights are cold, so he likes to snuggle up to people on their farmsteads, herds of horses, people driving by in the little prairie roads. Oh yes, fancies a bit of a snuggle and a bit of a midnight snack. Killings aplenty, obviously. But we're rushing ahead of things here. So this nutrient actually genuinely works, and these guys have foolishly injected themselves, causing disease within themselves. So it doesn't work on humans. Why would you even think that it might do? What would be the point of that? A bigger human will demand more food to keep himself going. So you're defeating the object. In a way, you want to be the shrinking man, so the food source around you already would be much greater. Shrink all the human beings down. Be laughing. Plenty to eat. However, as I said before, spiders will be bigger just by comparison. So not a good day out. Either way. But so science has gone awry again. But they find this body of the first scientist assistant who's gone out there. They find this body, and we enter John Agar playing our hero, Dr. Max Hastings, I think his name is. And our first encounter with him, he's flying a plane. So he flies a plane, lands it at a desert airfield, gets out of that, and apparently he's just delivered twins somewhere else. He's flown his own plane to go and deliver twins. Fly back, gets into his convertible, off he goes. Oh, there's been a body found. You better get back to town, buddy. He drives off. What a guy! John Agar is in many, many horror and sci-fi movies. He's in Revenge of the Creature for Jack Arnold, the director, and he's wonderful. I always think he looks like the actor Casper Van Dien, Johnny Rico from Starship Troopers, and he's in Sleepy Hollow. And he did sort of play Tarzan in a film, which I think I'm the only person I think who's actually seen it. Me and Casper Van Dien watched that, and we thought it was shit. But he looks a bit like a cross between Bruce Willis, yeah, and Casper Van Dien. He's got a big, proper, like, Hollywood jaw as well. Like, a bit like Maniac Cop. He's got that kind of jaw there as well. And anyway, so he's our hero of the piece. And he will go back to town. And he can do autopsies as well. He's a jack of all trades, this guy. And they pull the shroud back. And Jesus, what the hell happened to him? Well, it looks like acromaglia. They actually do, I can't pronounce the word, but they mispronounce it in the movie as well. They give it acromaglia, I think they call it, because it's easier to say than what the actual bloody term really is. But, well, that's odd. But this guy is Professor So-and-so. He works out with Professor Deemer. I better go out there. So, we do go out there, and Professor Deemer's kind of like trying to keep things a bit quiet. You know, oh yeah, well I'm doing this experimental serum, blah blah blah, and I don't know what happened to him. Acromaglia, that's what happened to him. Yes, but Professor, doesn't it take years for it to come on? Well, yes, it does normally, but in his case, it took 4 days. Beyond that, I can't tell you anything else. Look at the damage to my place. Look at this. We've also got a lovely, and I mean lovely, professor's assistant. She's learning, well, I don't know what she's learning, but she's going out to this professor's abode to become the assistant there. And she's a student, but my God, she's played by, what's her name again? Mara Corday. Always forget her name. Mara Corday. She is startlingly beautiful. Dark haired, and like with those sort of like arched, almost like pyramidal eyebrows. But she's beautiful. She was in other movies and she was a Playboy playmate. So if you want to do a little Google search, you will find the luscious Mara Corday in the Nuddy Nuds. Yes. And she's gorgeous in this as well. And she's Stephanie Clayton. But they call her Steve. Steve. Wasn't there a nun called Steve in that, Father Dowling Investigates with Tom Bosley? Wasn't that? He had a nun sidekick called Steve. Doesn't seem right actually calling a girl Steve. But anyway, so she's Steve. So she's gone out there and she's learning the ropes sort of thing. But of course, what they don't know is that our friendly Professor Deemer got with this serum. So he's beginning to change himself. He's beginning to get, his fingers are getting fatter and more deformed. And one eye's making a slow progress down one side of his face, while the other eye stays up there. One eye's drooping down here. And it will end up down there at some point. Because he's got it as well. And he will be forced to explain what's happened. That the other guy, the one that put the jab into him, after their ensuing struggle and the other guy died and set fire to the lab, he's realised, this has all gone wrong. So he takes the body out in a lovely shot as well, of this desert landscape. And it's very old Universal style Gothic, with I don't know if they're Joshua trees or what. I don't know me Joshua trees from me Benedict trees, I haven't got a clue. But this lovely shot, and he buries the body out there, tries to hide the evidence. Oops a daisy. But then of course when Steve begins to realise that, hang on, the professor's, something's wrong with him. And so our boy, Matt will go out there again and discover, yes, you're mutated as well. You've got acromaglia, and all this kind of stuff. So what's really happening here? So then he's forced to confess, look, yeah, those two bozos injected themselves and then got acromaglia. Then I had a fight with Paul and I got done in. Oh, now I've got it. Oh, but they destroyed everything. And I had rabbits and and tarantula. And Matt Hastings is going, tarantula? Because something else has been happening. In all of this chaotic in-between time, something else has been taking place. Yes, our eight-legged friend has been rampaging across the landscape. And he's been eating cattle. He's been eating horses. He's been eating the farmer. He's been eating two hapless passers-by in a 1937 Chevy truck. Hey. Actually, I haven't got a clue. I don't know anything at all about vehicles. But it looks like a 1937 Chevy truck to me. They're just driving along and the spider comes over the hill and in the middle of the road, they're like, gee. And in a great shot, and it genuinely is a great shot, although you don't see the spider pick it up and throw it, but you see the truck, the real truck, gets hurtled through the air and just goes, whoa, lands on the ridge, boosh, breaks apart. There's sheep in the back of it as well. And then the spider will come and devour the two hapless men that were driving it, and all the sheep as well. But what it's doing at the same time, you're finding these bodies which are just bones, rib cages and skulls just scattered around. But next to them are these great big pools of venom. So, after a few more deaths have ensued, there's these two poor hapless buggers. Oh dear God. There's these two that old prairie dogs. They are a bit rotund in their check shirts and their dungarees and all that, like a leather jackets, denim jackets. They're having a bit of a cookout during the night, and the spider, our boy, comes over the ridge behind them, chases them down, and the old horror film staple of the woman falling down whilst being pursued by the monster or the killer. Yeah, it happens to one of these guys. Not once, not twice. He falls down three times. And each time his mate runs back to go and save him. And come on. And this spider's bearing down on him. And they're like, I'd be like, oh, once you fall over the first time, I'll pick it up. After that, mate, that's it. You're on your own. I'm giving it toes. It's a fucking big spider behind us. That's it. He'll take his time chewing you up, but I'll be out of here. Ta-ra! But no, the two of them get killed. And I'll come on to all these killings. I'm just going through the movie at the moment. And so there's more and more bodies, or the lack of bodies mounting up. And Matt Hastings is with all the local sheriffry and all of the deputies are all there. And one of them little pesky reporters who wants the big story. Why is there always one of these guys around at the time? There's something happening here. Well, the people have a right to know. And all they've got is just bones and a pool of, well, what is this stuff? Have you got a thermos there? This poor deputy goes and gets his flask. Yeah, you can use this. But in the meantime, as he's going to scoop some up to analyse it, our good doctor, the one who can deliver twins and then get his plane and fly off and then get in his car and roar off and do an autopsy, and then he's driving across the desert and flying across it all the time, saving lives, investigating this. Does the guy ever sleep? But John Agar is a hero for the genre. Of course he doesn't need to sleep. And you've got this foaming patch of this toxin, this white foam there, and he puts his finger in it. He goes, yeah. And then you won't believe what he does next. He puts his finger in again and goes. Actually, he sniffs it first. He goes well, there's no real discernible odour. Oh. Why would you do that? Why would you put your finger in the foam next to the carcass of something else which has clearly been destroyed there, and this foam may be part of it? What'd you do? You're a doctor, for God's sake. But he takes it, scoops it up, and then under a microscope, somehow or other, he also knows his toxins, because he realises, I'm not too sure, but I think it could be an insect venom. And they're all like, what? Insect venom? What, that much? As if. But he's got that thermos. So he takes it out to, he's met this whole thing about the tarantula, you say, to Professor Demon. A tarantula escaped from here, and it had that growth serum in it. This is the great big light bulb moment. And then he finds all this stuff, and it's insect venom. I must get back in my plane again. And he flies off to the Arizona Institute of Insect Venom, something like that anyway. And he speaks to some other great big professor. And, and he says, like, well, you know, it's got a little test tube of it. He goes, yeah, yes, it's not, you were right about it being insect, but it's not quite insect, it's arachnid. That's a spider to you and me. And he's going like, well, so you're saying that's a spider venom? Oh yes, it's spider venom. And but can you imagine? He's kind of joking. This is the institute professor. He's going like, but if we got all that much from one spider, that'd be quite a big spider. And he's going like, that came from a pool about 4 foot across. And this guy's going like, are you having nightmares or are you just having delusions? And he's like, no, that's really out there. This is no night. If this is a nightmare, it's for all of us. Because if I'm right, and he shows a little film as well of what spiders can do. So they show like it's a desert tarantula. By the way, desert tarantulas in America are a lot smaller than their cousins south of the border, South America, than the Mexican ones. And I think they use in this movie Mexican red rumped tarantulas. I maybe got that wrong. I mean, you got the red-kneed tarantula, but I don't think they're the same. I think these are red rump tarantulas from Mexico, I think. And but the spider that did this, it'd be 100 times the size of another one, at least. So they now realise, yeah, I've got a great big rampaging arachnoid going across the Arizona desert, who keeps walking into power lines and knocking out the power, so you can't call out the town, you can't call back into the town to warn anybody. Oh, panic stations. And this fucking spider will go back to the Dima house, the Dima mansion, the laboratory where he was first injected. This poor spider. Not his fault, is it? And, sorry, I've got a bit of me dinner stuck in my tooth there. Well, I've got a good way to wash that out. As ever. Cheers, y'all. So, in the meantime, the spider's gone back to the mansion. And this is a great sequence, this. It's a double whammy shock sequence, which is superbly done. And the spider's coming towards the house. Steve, sexy Steve. This is female Steve, Stephanie. Mara Cordoy. She's getting undressed and finishing off her notes, about to get into bed. But outside her bedroom window, the spider's coming in. And it's goofy as all hell, but it's terrifically effective at the same time. Because although spiders have multiple eyes, because it's a monster thing, it's got 2 big eyes and 2 great big huge fangs and its mandibles, and it just leans in. So as a composite shot, it just leans in like this and comes in closer and closer and closer until it's just looking, it's ogling her as she's getting undressed and about to get into bed. But it's just an image being magnified, But really, where's the rest of its body? It would have gone through the bloody house by this stage. And go through the house, it most certainly does. Because she realises what's happening, screams, and it begins to start rocking the house. And then in the next great shock scene, Leo G. Carroll as Professor Dima, whose acromaglia has accelerated even more, suddenly wakes up in bed like that and turns around. And as I said before, one normal eye, one eye down here. Great makeup by makeup supremo Bud Westmore, who also worked on other Jack Arnold movies and many other movies as well. And my God, it's great. It's a great practical effect, a great prosthetic effect on his face. This other eye down here, you're like, what? Jesus Christ. And the spider begins to wreck the house. Steve manages to get away through all the wreckage and all that. But it devours the house. And in one great shot, one of those huge big mandibles, big fangs goes through the roof. And poor old Leo G. Carroll, oh, good, kind, looking after the altruistic scientist who's looking after the progress of mankind. Not his fault his comrades fucked everything up like. And then he gets involved in the whole thing in a bad way. This great big fang comes through the roof And it's like, it grabs him and it drags him out the house to be devoured. Oh my God. In reality, Leo G. Carroll cut his hand to ribbons because that big puppeted sort of fang had loads of wires on it, sharp wires operating it, and he cut his hand as it grabs him. He's like, cuts his hand to bits. Like, so suffering for your art. That effect of the eye being droopy down, it is a ghastly looking effect, but it does not make you laugh. Mainly because if you remember all the old Hammer movies with Peter Cushing playing Baron Frankenstein, and he'd forever be looking through a looking glass, a magnifying glass. So you'd see his eye magnified like that, and then he'd take it away, and he'd obviously be normal. But in the film Top Secret with Val Kilmer, there's that great sequence where he's doing that with the magnifying glass, and he's got the big, huge eye, Peter Cushing, and he takes it away. His fucking eye's still huge. It's exactly the same as what you saw through the looking glass. It was brilliant. But this reminds me of that because it's just like he wakes up and he turns around. Oh. But it's horrible at the same time. Luckily, Matt Hastings has realised, the spider's the one committing all the crimes, all the murders, and it's that serum. My God, they're out there in this beleaguered, isolated laboratory mansion. I've got to get out there and save them. Drives out there, and in whatever his convertible is, he does a couple of great little steering manoeuvres where he sees the spider, goes, whoa, and it just goes, whoa, the car just slides. American vehicles anyway, especially for the 1950s, they're fucking huge. They're tanks, aren't they? And this thing just goes, whoa. It's like Christine on super steroids. It's amazing. But he manages to save her, and off they go. And they make this pell-mell, helter-skelter drive down the highway. We've got to get back to town. Got to warn everybody. In the meantime, he has phoned the town sheriff, played by, where is he now? Nestor Paver, which is a bizarre sort of, Nestor Paver. Is he Mexican? Is he foreign? But he's just a proper, American small town sheriff. And anyway, he doesn't believe him. He's saying look, you've got to believe me. You've got to get men out there with guns, with dynamite. We're all at risk here. And in a great little moment, the sheriff goes to him, have you been drinking? And it's like, it's on the face, so it's like, I'm not drunk. Why in films of this era did everyone assume that the person telling them, you're not going to believe what's coming to town. It's a great big monster. It's got gills. It's got blah, 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 blah. It can fire laser beams. Blah, 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 aliens. They go, have you been drinking? Why do you assume someone who's telling you this has been drinking? Christ, if I've been drinking and I drink a lot, if I've been drinking and I happen to be drunk, I don't see giant spiders. I don't see these things. I just get drunk and have a laugh and fool around. That's what I do. So, I tell you what, if I did get drunk and saw giant spiders, I'd fucking stop drinking pretty quickly. Save a lot of money and save my liver. Liver. I gotta live without mine. So they've been warned, right? This is coming, and they meet the posse, the sheriff, and a few teams of men, his deputies. Some have got Tommy guns as well, and they've got, they're gonna try and hold this thing back for a while. And they meet them on the highway. That's Doc Hastings' car. And they meet them and they go, look, sheriff, look, it's coming down the highway. What's coming down the highway? What is it? And in a great shot, in fact, I will talk about the effects of this. Don't worry, I'm just going through the whole plot synopsis in my own inimitable way, all over the show. But you see in this tremendous, this is the one moment in this movie that really makes my hackles rise. And I don't like spiders. Regular viewers know why. We'll come on to all that as well. But my God, the spider comes over a ridge, say about 1.5 miles back, and they're there in the middle of the highway, and they see it, and it comes over, and it just stops and stares at them, and it just freezes. The hairs have just risen all over my body, and I've got a small body and lots of hairs, so that's quite electrifying. And oh my God, like a tarantula, in fact, they're covered in hairs. And it's a spellbinding moment. It just freezes. And it's a standoff. Oh, God, it's great. So, right, look, we've got to get back to town. We've got to get dynamite. call ahead, call them. These are walkie-talkies now. Call ahead, get every stick of dynamite we can get, and we've got to put a trap down for it because it's heading. If it follows the highway, it's heading to town. Oh no! But so they all get in the police cars and hightail it, but they leave two guys behind with Tommy guns. Like, you two, if you can't stop it with the gun, can't delay it, get in the doctor's car and drive back. So they're there. Oh, I'm not doing it. Fuck that, Sheriff. Yeah, I quit. Here's my badge. Fuck that. No way on earth you're going to stand against that thing, because it's got bigger. Even though it's had no more growth, serum pumped into it, it's still somehow got bigger and bigger. The more people it seems to eat, high protein diet, I suppose, it's getting bigger, and it's forever striding about the desert. It's fucking huge now. It's going over rocky canyons and all sorts of things, and it's always walking into these like telephone wires and electricity cables and shorting out things left, right, and centre. So maybe the sparks are injecting sort of hormonal growth serum into it as well, in a way, like steroids. And so he's roided up to hell, and he's quite aggressive as well, this guy. And even though the spider they use is female, all the spiders that they use in this movie are female. You can tell because they haven't got the little hooks on their legs. You know what the hooks are? The male tarantulas have hooks on their legs, so that when they get to do the beast with two backs with their female, like that, and all this kind of stuff, they anchor the female down with these hooks, because if they didn't, the female would eat them. The female of the species is more deadlier than the male. Period. End of. Every single species. And the spiders they use for this are all female, because they haven't got little hooks on them. So they are more aggressive. Oh, Jesus. Wouldn't want to make this movie. The actors are great because the actors aren't facing any spider at all. It's all superimposed. But the spiders you see, apart from the big puppet with the big huge fangs on it and the big googly eyes, all the spiders you see moving about, even on the superimposed shots, well, they're all real spiders. But again, we'll come on to all that. So these two poor guys, right, it's not fucking working, get in the doctor's car. The others have gone, and they're like, can't get the car started. Oh. So not only have you had the trope of the guy falling over, normally a woman, but they can't start the car, which was roaring down the highway a minute ago. I can't get it started. But then again, having said that, I've been in many occasions where someone, I don't drive, by the way, which is why I drink, so I don't drive. I can't drive. But when someone else, I'll take your car then, and you get into someone else's car, the amount of times that's happened, and they can't start the car, because they don't used to it. You think, hang on a minute, you drive cars all the time. It just, doesn't it start the same way? What's going on? But I've been in that scenario, not with a huge giant spider bearing down on us. Anyway, these two poor guys get picked out. Because, see, a convertible would have been a better idea to have a closed roof on it, wouldn't it? Spiders gets in there, gets these two guys. So they're crunched up and devoured. And the spiders ain't coming to town. Fucking hell. So in the meantime, all the townspeople are evacuating, and they brought out all the dynamite, and they put dynamite across the highway, and they're there in the trucks again. The spiders coming down the highway, hungrier now, and so they got dynamite all across the highway, and they bug out. Pardon the expression, and they the detonator, and then the big plunger, ooh, boom, and they say, well, if it doesn't kill the spider, it's going to blow out the highway. Which it does. It blows out the highway. Doesn't face the spider. Shit! Right, hightail it back to town. Did you call the general? Because there's always an Air Force base not too far away. And the thing is, in the Arizona desert and the Californian desert, where they actually did film it, but it's set in the Arizona desert, there is military installations there. Quite a lot of them, actually. So they call the Sands Air Force Base. And the general there, the deputy's going like, well, I've got them, but what do you want? And he said, well, we want rockets, airplanes, we need air support, and napalm, because they've got napalm there, we need napalm bombs. And he goes, right. So this deputy then goes like, after not knowing what the hell to ask for, suddenly he goes like, yeah, we need napalm, rockets, guns, everything, bring everything. Why didn't he just say that anyway? There's a giant spider heading towards town. What? I'm phoning the Air Force. What do I ask for? Firepower, everything. Bring it. So they unleash Clint Eastwood, squadron leader Clint Eastwood. It is Clint in his second uncredited role. As I said before, he was in Revenge of the Jedi. No, he was in Revenge of the Creature, the second Creature in the Black Lagoon movie. Jack Arnold did it and brought him in. And he's a scientist that loses a lab rat and then finds it in his pocket. But it's Clint. And in this, Clint, you can't see his face properly, but you can see from there up. He's in the cockpit, he's got his helmet on, and he's got an oxygen, mask, and he's giving the orders of his squadron and these fucking whatever bomber jets, and but it's clearly Clint. I hear his voice as well, and he's saying like, and they're totally unflustered by seeing a huge spider bearing down on a small Arizona town in the middle of the desert. Like, it's just part of the course for us. It's just a training run, boys. We'll fire 2 rockets each. So they do this. They come in a strafing run, and they're firing these things. They're not actually rockets that they fire, because you see lots of incendiaries coming out, but it doesn't really matter. They're effective. Looks great, actually. Fire these. Some hit him, some miss, but lots of explosions. Nothing. And you see Clint's thinking about it. He's like, spider.
Go ahead, make my day.
And suddenly he just goes like, just dump everything, dump all you got. So the napalm bombs go down. Whoa, flambe, big spider barbecue on the outskirts of town. Whew, really, really great effect. You've got the real townspeople, well, the real characters standing there in the town, and in the background, right on the edge of town, you've got the big burning carcass of this fucking huge spider, flames going everywhere. Napalm, of course, would actually probably be, it would linger for quite some time, and the town would be in jeopardy as well. Well, we saved the town from the spider, but the town's ablaze! Oh, God. But the film ends, and, folks, Tarantula is enormous fun. I have discussed big bug and 50s monster movies and creature features many times. You guys all know my favourites. The Thing from Another World is there, right at the top. And right next to it is Them, from Gordon Douglas. From the year before, 1954. And Them, about the giant ants. The giant ants are born out of the bomb test, the atomic bomb test done in the deserts. I have covered the film a lot, and I adore that movie. Now, and the ants in that are great, and they're great big puppets and all that. It's wonderful stuff. This film, Tarantula, always fell way behind for me. And so for many years, I always loved it. I had a lot of affection for this movie, but I never really put it anywhere near Them. And I still don't now. But watching it for this particular review, I watched it last night, and I really, really enjoyed it. Way more than I expected to. I thought, I love this film, but I really got engrossed in it. It's briskly directed, it's wonderfully filmed, the effects are, for the time, fan-fucking-tastic. And the subplot of the serum, well, say subplot, but what the subplot does, it gives you these other monsters. These 3 men are all deformed and become living monsters. The opening scene of a guy in desert with this hairy eyebrow caveman face and big troglodyte hands. You're like, what the hell? The first time I saw this movie, I was genuinely horrified. I forgot about spiders. It was these fucking guys with what they're wearing. Apart from Leo G. Carroll with the big Bud Westmore special effects face with the droopy eye and all that, and the big ripples on his forehead. He's got like a Klingon head and an eye down here, but it's grotesque. The other 2 guys are wearing modified masks from the film Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Or is it Abbott and Costello Meet Mr. Hyde? I think that's the full title for it. And they're modified masks from that. And you can tell as well, they do look like the sort of hairy ape-man versions of Mr. Hyde. But they still look genuinely horrific. And that subplot with the horror of these guys really works. Like, you forget about the spider, which is why you will get in the early quarter of the movie, they'll keep showing shots of the spider sort of walking across, climbing over rocks and coming down the other side. I'm out here, folks. Don't forget about me. And you've got an early sequence as well, just to remind you he's out there, when our boy, Dr. Matt and Steve take a little journey out into the rocks. And I think they're at, hang on a second, they are at Dead Man's Point. Dead Man's Point. Kilt-Man's Point. There you go. By the way, we're wearing my old favourite. It is the Hunting McLeod. Yeah. I love it. Like you guys put the same jeans on all the time. This is the first kilt I tend to reach for. And then I always go, oh, well, I've worn this for a few days now. Let's find something else, rummage around, get another one out. I've got 86 kilts, folks. 86 different kilts. But this is probably the one I wear mostly. And anyway, so they're out by this particular rock cluster, these boulders. This location is used in so many westerns. And I do believe it's used in Star Trek as well. Star Trek, the original TV show. And they're there. And Steve's not from the desert. But she's saying, like, and I know now why you love it out here. What? Fucking desert. It's a desert for one thing. There's nothing there. It's arid. It's barren. It's spooky. Miles from anywhere. And she's like, I love it. They see like a jackrabbit scuttle away, and they're like, she was like, yeah, I get it now. I get it. And then suddenly there's a rock fall. Rocks skitter down, and they have to move out the way as these fake boulders come tumbling down. And they get in the car and they drive off. They go back to the professor's place, and what do you think caused that? He's going, I don't know. He will go back out there and just look around this thing. What did cause this? But once they drive off, initially, we see the spider come over the top. So it's been behind this rock formation all the time. And on the move, it's just dislodged some of the bouldery. But it's great. So the spider's always lurking around. Now, this spider, as I say, it is a genuine spider. And they've composited the shots. So you've got miniature work with the big house and all that, and the little house, and the big spider destroying the house, crawling all over it, which is crazy. Looks amazing, actually. And the sound effects are wonderful. The crunching and all this debris everywhere, and the screaming going on. But the spider itself, they film it really well. And to operate the spider, to direct the spider, they're blowing air, obviously off camera. So what you've got is a spider on a mocked up miniature sort of set, or the desert landscape. And they've got the real spider moving one way. And these things are probably very reluctant to do anything at all. But to make it go a certain direction or do something, they're blowing smoke up its ass. But air, there's fucking things like that. So it's like standing up and doing all this crazy sort of stuff, or going off in the direction they want to go in. So it works. It's spider wrangling. Jack Arnold takes a lot of credit for doing that. It wasn't him that was doing it. He may have been, but he has said that I just blow some air at it to make it. He wasn't doing that. There was people there that were doing it from all different directions, and you had cameras mounted up to do it, to capture the spider going in certain ways. And obviously then it's superimposed, put into a composite shot, and going across the landscape. To our modern eyes, it's dead obvious what's happened. But it still looks really good. That scene I mentioned where Matt and Steve are making their escape from Demon's now destroyed mansion, and the spider's chasing after them, and they meet the posse on the highway, and they stop and they go, there. And it's obviously a real spider, but it's in the background, and it comes over the rocks, which are real rocks, but it's just superimposed. It comes over and just freezes. Oh, I shit you not. That is sphincter tingling. That is a great standoff moment. And it's again where the effects, primitive as they are, primitive to us, but actually groundbreaking at the time, look amazing and really, really work. But there are moments where, and you can see it as well, where the spider's legs are sort of, there'll be a rock formation and he's coming over, but half his legs disappeared because it's not in the same shot. There's something there which has gone behind it. And it's like almost like they realise, because half a leg disappears and then next thing, someone must have blown and he's gone, whoop, and the leg comes back again. So it's all clever stuff. The thing with the 37 Chevrolet truck getting tossed in the air, in many other movies at this time or even earlier, and in fact a lot after, it'd be a model truck being held across. You don't see the spider pick it up. They're driving along and it just comes over the rise on the road. They're like, ah! And then next thing you know, you just hear a crunch and a scream. And say this is the frame here right now. The truck, I'm looking around for a truck. Normally I've got toys of all sorts here, but let's just say this is the truck. This is anything but a truck. But next thing you know, it just cuts to like this going, boosh! Do it slow motion. But it's the real truck. The real life-size truck just drops. So he must have picked it up with the crane and just dropped it. Boo! Spider vision. We see the spider as it goes in to attack people. Oh, fucking hell. This is genuinely horrible. It goes after horses. It goes after people. And you see, so you're looking down at the people, all the horses going, the horses are running around, and the eyes just, and the vision, sort of kaleidoscope, just goes, whoa, down on this thing. And you just hear screaming. The people are like that, as it's coming for them. Like the copper with the machine gun, and he can't start the car, it comes down on him. The guys in the truck comes down on them. The two old dudes. I'm kind of reminded of the two dickheads in Jaws that use the pot roast and try and catch the shark. And one of them, the pier falls away and he gets dragged out, and then the end of the pier turns around. I'm kind of reminded of them two, but they survive. These two dickheads don't. And the one that falls over 3 times. But the spider keeps walking down towards them. Oh, God. And then the two of them are cowering together going, oh, the two old friends together. Oh, do you know what? It's got me upset now. The two old buddies together. Oh, what a way to go. What do spiders do, folks? What's all the foam about? What's all the toxin about? Spiders all carry venom. I, of all people, know that. Don't worry, for you regular viewers, I'm not going to go through all that shit again. Yes, but for newcomers, I got bitten by a spider. This time last year, as it turns out, on the back of my thigh. And it did a lot of damage. I had to have 2 courses of antibiotics. And even then, I've got a huge hole in the back of my leg where that spider bit me. Yeah, that was a spider. Here. There was no growth serum put into that. There was no atomic radiation. It wasn't some alien spider from the planet Arachnoid. It was just a fucking, well, they couldn't decide, was it a house spider or a garden spider? I don't really care. It was a twat of a spider that bit the fuck out of me. And it could still be out there for all I know. Because these fuckers can live for years, 25 years. Now, all spiders carry venom. The tarantula carries venom, but tarantulas are not dangerous to man. Their venom, this is the thing about, the bigger the spider is, the less potent its venom is to us. The smaller they are, the higher their level of toxin is. How does that work out? But anyway, that's the way it is. So a tarantula, and this is all of them really, and especially the American ones in the desert, it's no worse than a bee sting really. I know people can die from a bee sting, they go into anaphylactic shock. So you could get that, I suppose, but you'd be mightily unlucky to get that. Cheers. But what they do is they're covered in hairs. And their hairs are very spiky and they irritate human skin. They can get in your eyes, it can cause blindness, they can get up your nose, get in your throat, cause respiratory problems. And they shed in fright or flight. They'll shed hair and it flies. You imagine getting that. The film doesn't utilise any of that, but how they eat as well. They have fangs, they have mandibles, they will do that, but what they do is, and it's utterly grotesque, they will liquefy a body. They'll puncture it, pump this fucking stuff into you which will liquefy all your innards, and then they'll basically suck all your innards out and just throw the carcass away. Or in this case, it's just the bones that are left behind. So you've got lots of scenes, again like the film Them, the giant ants, and again with them you have formic acid, which is what the ants use. So films are very similar. Jack Arnold was asked about this. He said, like, did you see the film Them, and did you think, oh, well, they used ants, I can use a spider? He's like, no, I didn't see the film Them, and theirs was caused by he meant at the time, but he'd seen it since. So no, their ants were caused by a different thing, atomic radiation. Mine was caused by a growth serum. Well, I've got onto this now. Let's go on to the controversy of this movie and Jack Arnold himself. Jack Arnold was a great director of these genre movies. He would do comedies, he would do thrillers, he would do westerns, he'd do sex comedies as well as the years went by. But he's known as the man of the 50s B-movie creature features. But you can tell he wanted to be an A-lister. He wanted to work with the big stars and make big movies. But he's a bit of a strange guy. I like him. I've seen many interviews with him and read many interviews with him, and I like what he says. But there's a caveat here. He was an inveterate liar. It is true. And he would aggrandize himself. He would glorify his own abilities. Like, for example, this movie. He said, there's a few writers on this movie, and what's his name? Jack Arnold would often work with producer William Allen, however you say it, on many movies. Now, Jack Arnold says that his inspiration for this movie was the fact that he had done, this is what Jack Arnold said, he had done a documentary movie years before about a group of scientists who were working on a growth serum, and they had animals which were growing rapidly. And again, it was to fight world starvation. So he said, when I thought about this, I thought, I got a piece of blank paper and I wrote Tarantula on it. What if one of them was injected with this and got bigger? There's my idea for a movie. Bullshit. Because what actually happened, really, is that he and William Allen and other people were involved in an episodic TV show called Science Fiction Theatre. And there's one episode, which I think Jack Arnold directed, but William Allen produced it, but other people wrote it. Have a guess what it was? It was called Food for Thought. And it was a bunch of desert-based scientists working on a dietary a nutritional addition, almost like a vitamin, which could eradicate, starvation and make human beings easier to accept food and whatever. But the problem, you could grow all the stuff, but the problem with it was, once you had this serum, you were prone to disease. Now, there's no giant spider, there's no monster in this, and it's a very talky sort of thing, but the effects of it were detrimental to man. So you've opened Pandora's box to try and save mankind, but ended up destroying it, because this very thing will be the end of you. But Jack Arnold directed that, William Allen produced it, and the writers who created that, it's the same fucking story. All that's missing is the monster. So Jack Arnold did not come up with this. He did not do a documentary about these people who were really doing it. He directed this TV episode of Science Fiction Theatre, and then thought, yeah, I'll have a spider. No, give him that. Let's give him that, because and I'm not taking nothing away from his actual creativity. A very innovative and pioneering guy. Some of his movies are magnificent. Creature from That Lagoon, Jesus Christ, Incredible Shrinking Man, and these are beyond excellent. They are genre catalysts. They changed the direction that movies went in, and they were big hits at the time, and they've become perennial favourites, and they are massively hailed as genre milestones by all critics. So he made his mark, but he also was very outspoken, and as I said before, he glorified his own many things which he claimed to have done but didn't actually do. And he has a lot of bad words to say about. He died, I think, 1980. No, hang on. Maybe 1990, actually, I think he died. But he gave a lot of interviews, and he was very sort of dismissive of the Hollywood system. He knew how it worked. He didn't like it. Now, this would be because, this is just my sort of supposition, that he did not get the big break he wanted. He may have been outed on, well, you claim to have done this, but you didn't do that, and we know who did do it. And there's things with Creature of the Black Lagoon as well, which I think I've discussed it. I reviewed the Creature a while ago in a big in-depth review, so I may have mentioned it all on that. But he may have been outed by people, and he's just he's bitter about it. So I don't like the Hollywood system. I don't like these big moguls, these big studio suits, and the big hoi polloi. And so he's very blinkered about that. He got asked about his use of the military. The military come into a lot of his movies to save the day back in the 50s. But as he said, we were innocent then and naive, and we believed in our military then. This was an interview in the 80s, I think he gave. And he says, I wouldn't use the military now. And this is the 80s. So you've got to think, well, hang on, Vietnam, Beirut, what else? And there's other things that have happened, but would he have known about them? But he had a very blinkered view of the American military system, military machine. He wouldn't use them to save the day anymore. So I like him. Yeah, he may have oversold himself and taken credit for things he hadn't actually done. But there's a lot more to this guy. He's elliptical and elusive, and I love that sort of thing. But anyway, his movies stand the test of time, and Tarantula is absolutely bloody brilliant. As I say, the effects are great. You're hearing the score to it. I've got the full score to it. I've been playing it all throughout this, and the score is by uncredited Henry Mancini. Yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Life Force, Mancini, and Herman Stein went together. They've done a lot of movies like this. It was jobbing stuff for young composers at the time to work on B movies, sci-fi and horror. Just cut your teeth on that. Little knowing that they'd go on to great things, and that people like me and a lot of you would revere their scores for these old creature features and sci-fi outings and horror ventures, because without their endeavours then, you would not have the great composers you've got now, and the way that they construct horror and sci-fi scores. So, listen to it. It's blaring. It's of its time. It's 50s histrionics, orchestral bombast, trilling trumpets, and all sorts of big bass drums. And whenever the spider's on the scene, the spider, you see, there's other things with the spider. It's not just the great composite shots of a real tarantula scuttling across or doing its little dance of legs and stuff or freezing and staring down soon-to-be victims. It has a hiss. Spiders don't hiss, but this goes. I haven't got the effect. I'd love to have the sound effect for it, but by the way, there's a video coming up on the sounds of horror, which anyway, we'll come on to that. That's another video. But it's just like horrible, raspy, and it raises in pitch, and people are going as it's coming near them, and then you see their view looking up at it. Its mandibles dribbling, and it's fucking horrible. And then you see its view of them as it comes in for the kill. Oh Christ! But it doesn't just do the hiss. Oh no. This motherfucker roars as well. Spiders don't roar. They don't hiss. They don't roar. But this bastard does. But then again, if you're the size of a fucking tank and then the size of a small house, why shouldn't you roar? If you're that big, roar. Be proud. And it does. Oh God. And the roar. Oh Christ. It's terrifying. It just bubbles and it's dead deep and bellicose. I'm 53 years old, folks. I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm drinking whiskey and I'm doing a fictitious spider roar. My dad said I'd amount to something. How wrong were you, Pops? How wrong were you? Cheers. but it's scary and it works. Oh my God. And it's ogling a woman. You've got that, again, the cliched sequence of a woman undressing. Don't get your hopes up. I know she was a Playboy playmate and she's unbelievably gorgeous. You don't see a damn thing. This film has a lot of pajamas in it, believe it or not. All three scientists, when they die, off the guy that wanders out in Desert Festival is wearing pajamas. The guy that attacks our hero scientist is wearing pajamas. When our hero scientist dies in the mandible of the spider, the big fang, he's wearing pajamas. In that same sequence, our heroine, Steve, is running from her bedroom as the whole place is collapsing, and she's wearing very, very conservative pajamas, which give nothing away at all. And then she will wear pajamas for the rest of the movie because she'll get rescued then down the highway, back to town. But pajamas features a lot in this movie. It's kind of a weird, once you pick up on it, you go, oh yeah, they're all wearing pajamas. It's the pajama game, but with spiders. There's a ludicrous sequence where Professor Deemer is sort of training Steve. Don't forget, he's now lost his colleague, who's the one that dies first. Then he loses his assistant, who's the guy that actually attacks him and then dies. But injected our hero scientist with the serum, dooming him. Why does he do that, you know? Why did they inject themselves? I said before, it doesn't make any sense at all. The film doesn't even try to address that. Why would they do that? But anyway, he's training Steve, and they've got they're wearing like visors, and they've got gloves on, and they've got pincers, and because his hands are a bit more deformed, he's going like okay now Steve, just they've got two glass sort of triangular file things like, and they've got a serum, pour it in there, then do this, put the cork back in there, then put it into that box, and you see this. It's quite a laborious. See what I did there? It's in a laboratory. And it's quite a laborious set piece. And she's doing all this, and you know he's instructing them side by side. And they've got these sort of concrete blast shields in front of them, but there's gaps, and they're working with these pincers and tongs in between. Now put them in the box there, and now just bring the box. And she reaches over and she puts the pincers around a bit like the box behind me here, the breadboard behind me. It's got like a little wooden lid on it, a little wooden handle, and she picks that up with that, and they walk off with it. The way the scene is shot from the inside looking at them, and you see the close-ups of these bottles and serums being poured together and mixed up and all that, you think it's in a sealed container, and they're wearing this, and they're in gloves, and they've gone through like one of them sort of like, you know, little holes you put your hands through, it's all sealed up. 3 concrete blocks. And they're like, okay now Steve, pick it up. She goes, okay. Picks the thing up and walks off with it. It's not sealed in at all. What was the point of the visors and all that? It's right there. The whole scene is like, it plays out like it's all very finite and delicate, very dangerous operation. And then you see, it's totally open to everybody. What was the point of it? And then you go, carry the box and put it over there now, Steve. Well done. Beggars belief. But even beside things like that, and people falling down and stuff like that, it's a wonderfully constructed movie of relentless mystery, and then you know what's happening. You know it's a big spider out there, but it's once they hang on, bodies. What's this acid? I mean, you don't put your finger in a fucking pile of goop. Ugh. Don't do that if I were you. What would have been great? What would have been great if the serum had gone into that as well? Because obviously it's part of the spider's DNA now, so it should have come out and it's a little toxin acid spew, which dissolves the bodies and all that. And our hero's tongue should have gone, a big acromegaly-eyed tongue. He and Steve, there's your nominal romantic interest there. But don't go thinking that they get it on. They do not. And she only hugs him sort of in relief at the end when the spider's burning away. So there's no actual romance in it. You think it's there. He even comes out with a really stupid 50s era sexist comments. Well, to as he's driving it to the the Professor Deemer's place, first time they've always met as well. And he's like, so you're a scientist, eh? Yeah. And she's like, well, yes, I'm doing my doctorate and blah 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 blah. And he goes like, oh, you see, this is what happens. You give the women the vote, and next thing, lady scientists. Well, I'm there to make the coffee as well. She is like a bit of a skivvy in the house as well. And like, so it's of its time at the same time. Got to mention, what's it called? Courthouse Square, which is the Universal backlot. This film's town, Desert Rock, is the backlot Universal. And Courthouse Square, you've seen it a million times. It's in so many movies. It's in the Monolith Monsters, which is very similar to this, and I've reviewed that movie, a 50s sci-fi horror, where alien stalactites grow and crystallize, and anyone who touches it becomes petrified, and a small town doctor uncovers what's happening, and they have to stop the advance of these stalactites, which are going to advance upon the town. The town is apart from the model bits, is the same Courthouse Square used in this movie, and It Came from Outer Space as well, and Back to the Future. Yes, the town square of Back to the Future with the clock tower. It's this backlot set. And it looks wonderful. And kudos goes to the production design as well, because you've got this wonderful, I think it's the funeral parlour, the mortuary. So, and you've got a couple of scenes in there, obviously with the autopsy of the first body, and then other scenes where he's having discourse with the sheriff. But when you go into this building, and this will be a different set. Obviously, you've got the exterior backlot set, but when you go inside this building, it's wonderful. It's the ceilings are about 40 foot high. It's like a cathedral. And going along with that, you've got stained glass windows and these long settees and and this huge sort of room. And then you go into another room where the bodies are being kept. But that opening foyer, if you want to call it such, is wonderful. And when you watch it, do look at how they've done the set design and the art direction of this. With these big, huge stained glass windows, it just looks so, wow. If you film this in a cathedral, what's going on here? It beggars belief. It's wonderful. It genuinely is. And for some reason, although it's as odd as it is and as eye-catching, it's not like you don't go off that. They've suddenly strayed on to the old Universal horror monsters. It's Frankenstein's laboratory just being redressed. No. It's part of it. It just looks really odd, but I can imagine that is in the town. It seems to work. It's wonderful stuff. Genuinely wonderful stuff. All the art direction is great in this. The effects are great. The music's tremendous. It's of its time, but the music's great. The spider is a genuine menace. He keeps strutting around the place, and I love just intercut scenes. Like, oh, by the way, there is a giant spider out there. Let's just remind you of this. And he's going across the scenery. I love this movie, folks. It is a real shot in the arm, not of growth serum, but of bowel tightening, arachnophobe, terrorizing, testosterone and adrenaline. It is purely fantastic. Science gone awry. Everyday man becomes the hero again. This is the thing about movies from this period, culminating, I would say, in Jaws, but where you'd have a guy who has a job. He is a doctor. He is a scientist. He is a professor. He is a teacher, a policeman. But he will take on the role of becoming the hero. He will learn the entire mystery. He'll unravel it all. He'll save people. And then he will instigate the saving of the human race at the end of it. And all he is a fucking postman. That's great. The best one of all would be them. Because James Whitmore, who's the hero of it, who sacrifices himself, spoilers, at the end of it, and gets killed by a giant ant to save these kids. He is just a state trooper. So, state troopers out there going like, what do you mean, just a state trooper? I'd fight tooth and nail against giant ants and giant spiders. Of course I would. I would join the FBI and everything, blah, blah, blah. I'd bring the army in. But that's what James Whitmore does. He joins the FBI. He brings in the army. He fights with the army against an army of giant ants. He sacrifices himself. Well, what point did his actual occupational elements of the job end, and then the pure movie hero status take over? Because you do your job and then you pass it on. And again, our doctor, our neighbourhood doctor, our jet-setting, globe-trotting, twin-delivering, spider-battling hero doctor, he does everything. He unravels the mystery, and he has all the answers, all the solutions. Well, let's do this. We need dynamite. Dynamite's not enough. Well, they've got napalm. The Air Force Base, they've got napalm there. Bring that. Incidentally, Mara Corday, who's in this, the main heroine of this, she's also a lifelong friend of Clint Eastwood, who's the uncredited squadron leader who destroys the spider. These two were friends and she'd appeared in several, she's been the Gauntlet with him as well, and she would also be in Sudden Impact. And Sudden Impact, of course, as the phrase, go ahead, make my day. In the coffee shop, the restaurant, which is being held up, and Dirty Harry goes in there, he's reading the paper, and the waitress is pouring loads and loads of sugar into his coffee, loads and loads and loads, and he's not paying any attention. And he's just going like, yeah, reading the paper, yeah. Thanks. Walks out of his coffee, and walks out, the door shuts, and what we see behind, they turn the open sign to closed, and he goes, what? And he sees the sign's been turned around, and he sees there's people in there with guns. So he goes in the back way, and he confronts the bad guys and blows them all away. Who is the waitress that's giving the game away to him? Trying to tip him off. I'm going to pour loads of sugar into this, loads and loads of sugar. It's Mara Corday. Friends, he would help her out in movies and give her roles in movies, and they've had this lifelong sort of friendship, and I think it's lovely, and she's lovely as well. I'll just say that again because she is. A lot of these movies have the heroine, and she's meant to be very attractive. Now, again, in the 40s, actually, the women in the 40s looked very, very attractive. Women in the 50s, the fashion sense changed, and I go off on a tangent. The fashions changed a little bit, and they became a lot more conservative. I think. But you've got the likes of what's her name in Julia Adams in Creature from the Black Lagoon, who is unbelievably beautiful and swims a lot and wears a lot of revealing swimwear, obviously. And you have the creature mimicking the sexual sort of, as she's swimming on the surface of the Black Lagoon, he's swimming beneath it sinuously, and it's almost like the sex scene. It's deliberate, and I'm not just making this up, but she's gorgeous, and you see a lot of hair. Now, a lot of these women, then their makeup and the hats they wear, they're covered up. They're meant to be sexy as hell, and you're meant to fall in love with them, but you don't, because they're just they're way too staid and conservative. Now, even though she wears non-revealing pajamas and a dressing gown, and she wears non-revealing costumes throughout the movie, there's something about Cora Morday. Put that name right again. Mara Corday. Mara Corday. Good God Almighty. She is eminently attractive and has this sort of almost exotic intelligence. I don't mean to sound like I'm putting down women. I'm just looking at her as a thing of beauty. She's got an aura about her which is genuinely adds to the movie. It genuinely makes you think she's not just a pretty face. There's something about her, and there's a more lithe, sinuous and sensuous side to her. And yeah, I can see what the spider was looking at as he leans in. What's the spider thinking? And it's a female spider. Well, it's a big puppet, let's be honest. It's a great big puppet. You've also got our hero's practice, his office, is in a hotel sort of thing, which is kind of bizarre. He has a room there, which is clearly his surgery. And you've got this guy, I forget his name now, who he runs the switchboard there. Now, when Steve first arrives in Desert Rock, and she goes, oh, and obviously the camera pans, she's got this pencil looking dress on and a hat on and all that, but this gorgeous face, and he's like, oh, where you going, miss? You staying here? And she's like, no, I want to go out to the Dima place. Oh, well, the bus isn't for another 5 days or whatever. And I get a taxi then. Well, yeah, he's out on the job. It might be another 2-3 hours before he gets back. Well, what do we do then? Well, unless you want to take a room here, you just got to wait. So she sits down. But then, of course, our boy comes back in. And this is how they meet. And he's got what the receptionist thing? Jeff. Let's call him Jeff. Jeff, any calls for me? Just from Professor Dima. Right, well, I'm going to head out there now. Oh, if you're heading out there, you can take this young lady here. She's going out there too. And that's how they meet. That's how they get together. Well, if together is really what they are doing. There's no romance in it. Maybe afterwards. After they have the big spider barbecue, they're all crunching, hairy legs. Maybe then perhaps. But this guy, he's forever taking all the calls, and they take the piss out of him as well. And I like that. But it's just, why would a doctor have a surgery in what's clearly a hotel? I don't really work that out. It's bizarre. I mean, does he live there as well? Has he got is it he has apartments there and his surgery? I don't know. Killed 2 birds with 1 stone? Maybe. Folks, I love Tarantula. I don't love tarantulas, but although Cristiano, my old mate Cristiano, you have tarantulas, don't you? Yes, you do, because you've sent me pictures of them. Thanks for that. Don't do it again. And he doesn't live too far away from me either. Bit of a worry. Don't let them out, whatever you do. Spiders seem to be drawn towards me. There's another weird thing as well. I've held tarantulas, and there's no weight whatsoever. They are feather light, and because they have little tiny hooks, little tiny pincers on the ends of their legs, and it literally is so delicate you would not believe, unless you've held one, you would not believe it. By the way, I don't recommend it either, but it is strangely, they're not slimy, hairy, and They actually feel really beautiful and soothing as they move across you. Now, giant spiders can't exist. I've done videos on this. Giant spiders can't exist because the gravity they could not exist in that sort of gravitational pull. It would just crush them. They couldn't be big, which kind of makes you wonder why we have this sort of inbuilt fear, arachnophobia. Why? I've always said that spiders must have been bigger way back in prehistoric times. They must have been much bigger. Because my hand just keep doing this spidery thing, and they must have been, because it's illogical. They're very delicate and they're frightened of us, and they do a good job. So why the hell are we terrified of them? Oh, because they got 8 legs, and because the way they move. Well, fucking hell, a rhino's got a big fucking horn and come charging at you and destroy your fucking truck. Grizzly bears stand on the back legs, but we love grizzly bears, and we love got to protect the rhinos. Of course we have, but we fucking hate spiders. And with sharks, sharks. Well, no, we all like sharks now, because sharks aren't as bad as we first thought. Until one's coming at you, of course, those black eyes roll over right, and I hear that terrible high-pitched screaming and hollering. The ocean turns red, all that. But spiders, something has to have been manufactured by them in us way back for it to be in our DNA to be afraid of them. Because it's illogical, but it's definitely there. So, I reckon spiders were much bigger. But a spider that size, you couldn't have one that size. Or could you? Now, this is where the film could actually work. Well, it does work, but it can work on a real scientific level. They've been pumping this thing for this nutrient, this super serum. What's to say, and who's to say that doesn't make its bone structure, and it hasn't got bone, it's a little exoskeleton thing. It's all flesh and cartilage and muscle. Who's to say that's not going to strengthen that so it can actually tolerate the increased pressure of gravity upon its frame? Who's to say? Not you, not I. So it can exist. And also, that's the thing about, like, when you see it going over the land, and like, you always think, hang on a minute, because you see the sort of superimposed spider going after people or horses or whatever, or vehicles and people. And it's good doing this. You can't hear any thuds on the deck. Boom, 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 boom. You got none of that going on. Now, I put that down to the fact that if it's just it's an increased size normal spider. So it's going to have those little hooks on the end. So you're not going to hear it because it's so feather light the way it moves. So I think it can work. And also, here's a little thing, more spider facts for you folks. There's no webs in this, although you do see some silk. When the spider leaves, when the fire breaks out and it gets out of its vivarium and it goes out the back door of the laboratory, you do see some. Don't go thinking that that's a wire pushing. That's a real fucking spider moving. What you're seeing there is genuine web. It's actually producing web. Tarantulas, like all spiders, do produce webs, but most spiders produce them from their underbelly of the abdomen, and they have their spinnerets and their spigots, which is the actual nozzle where the web shoots out of, on the underbelly. Not tarantulas, oh no, because they don't make webs, but they do produce silk. And what they do, it comes out of, and they've worked this out, and it was, I think it was University of Newcastle, could be wrong on that. Oh, Kilt-Man, you're really trying to put the facts across here, and probably completely erroneously as well. I may have got the university wrong, but it was definitely in the UK. They studied spiders and tarantulas to work out, do they actually spin webs? And, well, they don't spin webs, but they do produce silk. But it comes out of where? Not their abdomen. Where? The feet. They have their spinnerets and their the nozzles are on their feet. Not all feet, but some of the feet. And they might not make a web. They don't live in webs. They make burrows. They burrow into the ground or into the woodwork or the stonework. They'll make a burrow. They'll make a hole and they get in there. But they might lace the outside of it with a bit of webbage. But what they use that silk for is to hang on to walls and slippery surfaces. So it comes out of the feet. And like, did I say legs before? I meant feet. It comes out of the feet, and so it keeps them anchored on. You know, that way around, upside down, shaky ground, smooth ground, bit of wet, bit of rainfall comes down, you know. So, sorry, I'm showing someone else there. You know, all these sort of things. It's all coming to me now. Like skittering like little spider thoughts in my brain, which is worrying. Spiders in the brain. Jack Arnold said about the desert, why do you keep using the desert as a location? Which he does in a lot of movies. He said, well, the desert has mystique to it. It's already a place, and this is a quote from the movie, I'll misquote it now, but he says, they say it in Tarantula, and Jack Arnold says it himself, everything that's ever walked across the face of the earth has left its evidence in the desert, because the desert used to be a sea. So all the bones are there, all the fossils are there, of every single thing that's ever lived on this planet is there. And the desert has an aura. It does. I've been in the desert, I know what he means. Those rocky structures, the huge sky, the omnipresent pressure of a big sky down upon you, and the aura of a vast open space that has echoes and pockets of something which you don't understand, be it prior life, be it prior tribes, or whatever, or wildlife that lived there, that roamed that place. They're huge areas, huge expanses where there's no human beings, which have actually destroyed all of that peace and quiet, that tranquility. And centuries, eons of time have created presences and an ambience. He said, that's why I gave him more words than he actually said it. If he was alive now, he would take what I just said and say that he said that. I added those lines. He didn't. But I know what he means, though. And that's why he kept using the desert. And it definitely works. Hence why you've got that sequence where Steve says to Matt, you know, oh, now I know why you love the desert. He's only been there for 5 minutes. Just in a jackrabbit run across, like, and what they don't realise is there's a fucking giant spider just behind the rocks behind them. They haven't realised that, you know. Not a good place for a picnic, that. And but she says, like, now I know why you love the desert, why you appreciate it. The desert's a very scary place. I'll be massively honest. I could not live there. I think you have to be born there to stay there. It's not conducive to a happy sort of existence. But visit it, enjoy it, and soak in that weird ambience to it. He also said, and I don't know how true this is, that in a desert, this is Jack Arnold, he said this, and I've heard it from elsewhere, but I really don't know if it's genuinely true. When you get severe rain in the desert, what I'm going to say now sounds really ridiculous, but when you get heavy rain and it floods out areas, suddenly there's fish, little fish, in the rainwater, you know, the flood water. Is that true? Is that true? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's just one of those little facts that I've suddenly remembered that people have said, and I know Jack Arnold said it as well, that little fish, suddenly you just see little fish and you kind of like, I mentioned before that what's his face, John Agar looks like Casper Van Dien, shot through with a bit of Bruce Willis and Maniac Cop's jawbone. But if you look at Jack Arnold in sort of late 70s, early 80s, he looks like the Fonz. Henry Winkler, older with the grey hair, but he does like the Fonz. So, hey! And, but yeah, little fish in the desert. I bet you've heard that story, haven't you? I've never seen it, and I don't know if it's true, but it has that kind of weird, it could be, couldn't it? These old prairie dogs would be sitting there, you know, they've got the sheep and their cattle all back in the ranch and all that, and they're all bolted up and all that. Spiders, we've got guys with shotguns and napalm, you know, keep the spiders at bay. And they're out fishing, you know, up in the rocky boulder, you know. It just doesn't work, does it? Fish out there? No, surely not. But so what's he trying to say? When the rain comes down, these things are already in the ground and just come out again? Bullshit. Now I've just gone through that element of it. Doesn't work at all, does it? Anyway, folks, Tarantula. So you've got a lot more than you bargained for there. Had some whiskey. You're hearing the music, which is great. Talked about the movie, which is wonderful. The effects, which are pioneering and wonderful stuff. And it's just a great all-round piece of sci-fi 50s creature feature hokum, which you will lap up. It's over in a blink of an eye, and yet you've had loads of stuff happening. Big makeup effects, big monster spider, killings of plenty. There's quite a body count in it. The spider doesn't kill all of them, but the body count's still there. These people dying of acromegalia and all that kind of stuff. I always do wish there was a bit more at the end. There's a shot where the jets are flying right by the spider. Oh, by the way, I hope you appreciate my little set piece here. I have a B-29 Enola Gay bomber. It's the one that dropped the bomb. The Hiroshima bomb. How did Jaws come back into this twice? And he's fighting Shelob. That's my reenactment there of the end of what's it called again? Tarantula. I was going to call it Them. Them's still a better film, but Tarantula's still bloody awesome, and it's only just a few notches down, but it's still great, and it flies by in the blink of an eye. And if you're arachnophobe, you can still watch it. You get that fear, you get that frisson, but it's not horrible enough to make, I can't watch this. But I'm arachnophobe with good reason, and I can still watch it and really enjoy it. I love the moments where it just goes and freezes and stares down. I can see humans over there gonna have you, but there's a few of you. You're gonna do something, aren't you? You've got something up your sleeve. I'm just gonna sit this out for a minute. No, I'm gonna have you. Comes after them. But you've got all the movements, because if they're real spiders, you've got all this. So it works. They're not like the ants in them are not real ants. Obviously, a real ant, this is the one let down, a real ant would move a hell of a lot faster. And our world would be over. Over. Completely. If ants were that size, we'd be destroyed. We wouldn't. We'd be gone within a day. If all the ants in the world were suddenly that big, we'd never exist. Simple as. But tarantulas do move slowly, but they can move fast. And you do, because they're real spiders they're utilising, you do see them move a bit quicker, occasionally. But imagine seeing them fucking jump and doing that, when they go on the back legs and oh, fuck no. Anyway, it's Halloween approaching, so I thought of throwing a creature feature on the channel, a vintage one. I know a lot of you guys enjoy the vintage stuff as well. So, there you go. A lot more to come. Not today, but something else. But within the next 24 hours, you'll have another video. So please, in the meantime, in this ever arachnophobiac, what's it called again? Acromegaly. They call it acromaglia, and that's not the right phrase. But I reckon it's because no one can say acromegaly. Acromegaly. I can't say it. Oh, Jesus. And I'm looking at the fucking word there. It's right there. But anyway, folks, have fun. Be yourselves. Watch out for spiders. And just, if you got whiskey, drink it. That's what it's there for, I'm going to the pub. You guys, if you want to pop along, I'll see you there. But anyway, just take it easy. I'm going to see you all. Laters! Spiders! They're good for the planet. Leave them alone. Right.